I think one is British, one is American.
Well, that's kind of like the derbied one and myself. I wear a bowler hat. He wears a derby hat. It's the same thing. It just depends on your location.
Exactly. Like sometimes I say data and then sometimes I say data. One is American, one is British. So,
I live really close to Canada, and they say project and about and stuff like that, and we say project, and
hmm
it's always fun, and that's why I like these spaces because we get to interact worldwide, live, in a normal conversation. So I think we're at a good time. If you want to, Annie, give us an introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your project, and what you want to share. And then we'll just kind of open it up from there if you're okay with that. The floor is basically yours. And then I'll give you some opportunity to answer questions. Hopefully, some people usually start to flow in here shortly. And then, we'll go from there.
Oh, no, that's perfect. Sounds good. So, good morning, everybody, or good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. So, my name is Annie, and a Web3 founder of a project. So, a brief just background on myself. I'm female, she, her, in case it's not obvious, because I've been on calls before with customer service representatives and I've been called Mr. So, just saying that just for the record. And I have my background is really a mixture. So I'm part artist and part business. Artist in my private life, but business in my professional life, so to speak. So, just tech. My background is in tech, corporate America, startups, that sort of thing. But in my private life, my artistic life, I've worked on film, on sound, sound for film and multimedia. I've been published in some British magazines or other. And I've also produced a short film. So a little bit about me. And based in Seattle, Washington. I've been in the Bay, Seattle, San Francisco, California for well over a decade. And then just moved to Seattle about last year. So definitely enjoying the West Coast, shall we say. And then my project, I am the founder of Iluna Freak. So Iluna Freak, that's the name, in case you were wondering how to pronounce it. And we're really just a crypto art aggregation platform. And the problem just stemmed from me hopping into the Twitter community and the NFT Twitter community, and then just, recognizing the problem of fragmentation in consuming artwork. So you're on Twitter, you see a piece of art that looks interesting, that looks nice, but before you can pin it, you refresh your screen and the artwork is gone. And say you didn't even quite get the name of the artist, all of a sudden you can't quite find it anymore. And even if you hop onto the artist Twitter handle or their page, it's really difficult to browse or see all of their artwork, because their tweets are there, short form content is there, all other retweets are there too, right? And so just realizing the problem with regards to fragmentation in consumption, in art consumption, I decided to solve that problem. And let me give you another example. So let's say today you hop onto an artist Twitter page. On their page, you see their link tree. You click on Linktree and then you see all of the multiple platforms where their art is currently held. So you click on one, you go to OpenSea, you have to navigate OpenSea, come back to Linktree, click on known origin, navigate known origin for that particular artist, come back to Linktree. So it's a very fragmented experience. And so what we do, this is a solution, what we do is we aggregate all of that art across marketplaces and across blockchains into one space. Therefore, you have a seamless experience in consuming the artwork of your favorite artist. So I will just pause there because I know I've said a lot. So please let me know if that isn't clear. Happy to explain a bit more and also happy to answer questions.
No, that's perfect. I'm following along. I think you're doing great. Does anybody have a question that you have? Welcome, Apollo. I see you, Alan, everybody. No, go ahead and continue. I think people are interested in what you have to say. You're doing great.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll just keep going then. And the reason I pause is because many times I get questions like, so how are you different from OpenSea? How is this different from OpenSea? So I'll just go ahead and answer that question right off the bat. So we're different in the sense that we are a gallery. Whereas OpenSea, Known Origin, or LooksRare, they are transactional marketplaces, so they allow you to buy and sell. Whereas on ours, you're not buying and selling, rather, you're consuming art across marketplaces and blockchains, right? So instead of having that whole fragmented experience where you want to see the artwork of your favorite artist, or let's say you are an artist and Adidas or Nike or whomever is interested in your artwork and they would like to get a sense of your style. Well, how do you show them all of your art? It makes it quite difficult. But when you create an account on our platform, you're able to just pull all your artwork together and then send it to whomever seamlessly across the web to be able to consume your art or even get a sense of what your style is. So I personally, I am a collector, and my account on Ilona Freak allows me to showcase all of the artwork that I've acquired, all of the NFTs I've acquired. So I'm able to tag all of the artists whose artwork is in my portfolio. And if there are any collectors with whom I jointly own an NFT, I'm also able to tag that collector. So it's free to set up an account on our platform. And another question I typically receive, which I'm just going to answer, is how do you guys then make money, right? If you're not buying and selling, because OpenSea will take a certain percentage or LooksRare will take a certain percentage, right? So how do you guys make money? Well, we make money from promotions. So let me give an example. So you have an account and you're able to aggregate all of your artwork. And so what happens is on our platform, we allow you to actually designate what type of artwork it is. So let's say this is an artwork that's still in progress and you would like to receive feedback. Well, you can put it on the platform and engage with your community to receive feedback so that you're sure that whatever it is that you are creating is actually resonating with your intended audience, because it really sucks, right, to pay a gas fee and it's just crickets out there. Or let's say your artwork is already listed on a third-party marketplace, and a third-party marketplace is, your LooksRare, your OpenSea, your Magic Eden, right? So you could tag that artwork as listed on that third-party marketplace. Or if you're like me and you're just acquiring art, you're not creating or selling art, then you just tag your artwork as sold. So let's say you have an artwork that's actively listed on OpenSea as an example, and you're trying to drive more traffic. You're trying to let people know that you have an artwork and it's out there, it's listed in the world. Well, what happens is you can pay a small fee, and then what we do is we show your artwork more often to more people. And so that's how we make our money. When the artist decides to promote their artwork, when they decide to create exposure for not just their art, but for themselves, we keep that fee. We show their artwork more often to more people and then drive that traffic to their active listing on the third party marketplace. So I'll pause there in case there are questions, in case I've confused anybody.
No, I'm following along, but I've read ahead too, so I may be a little ahead of the class here. Does anyone have any questions so far? Do you?
Is this like a 2D Web 2 kind of environment? Or, I mean, is it a 3D thing like spatial where you're got an avatar and you're walking through your artwork? Or so, what's the description on that level, like the interface?
Yeah, the interface. So to answer your question, it's not 3D at all. I would say it's more Web 2 in the sense that you are browsing through. You know what I mean? So you have a profile. So similar to how you consume artwork today on OpenSea, for instance, right? It's not a 3D space where you're physically walking through. It's not a metaverse type of experience. You see what I'm saying? So I'm using Web 2 to designate the fact that it's not a 3D experience, you know? It's more 2D, should I say. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Sure. Please keep the questions coming.
That was a great question, Alan, because Alan does do a lot of stuff in 3D. So, like, probably he's asking about like GLB file or avatars. Is
Mhm.
that something that maybe, if it's an NFT standard, and an avatar, would that something that can go on your, or are you strictly just two-dimensional art aggregation?
Yeah, so right now, so I'll be honest, right now it's something that's on our roadmap in the long term, in the long run. So we're building just based on the feedback from our community and just based on their needs, what they're looking for, what they would like to see, all of that. And so that's not in the roadmap in the short term, but definitely in the long term. And so we've been live for about 3 months now, and we continue to add different marketplaces and different blockchains. So that's not to say that that will not happen, but it's just not in the short run.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting, and it's not a hit or a miss. It's just a curious question. I am curious about
Exactly.
what block, everybody's got their it's not that you have to do that. So I don't want you to take it that way.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
what blockchains are you on? When you mention blockchains, is there obviously probably Ethereum, because I see a lot of Ethereum
Yes,
on here.
correct. Yeah. So we're currently on Ethereum, but we're looking to aggregate Tezos and Solana because the community is demanding Tezos as well. Many of our artists are very heavy on Tezos. So we're looking to add those as well. Solana is definitely on the roadmap, but then there have been issues with Solana because of, creator royalties with secondary sales. So artists are, kind of on the fence about it, but that's another blockchain that we're looking to aggregate. And then part of our roadmap as well is right now we're strictly crypto art. So right now it's just all NFT art. But in the future, in the very short future, we'll be looking to also aggregate music NFTs and other types of NFTs that are in your wallet. So not only will you have the opportunity or the option to consume your favorite artists across marketplaces, but you can also consume whatever it is that they have. So be they, let's say they have music, or let's say they have art, or other types of NFTs, you'll be able to consume those as well. But we're starting with art at the moment.
Perfect. You got to start somewhere, and that seems like a great place. Uh, any other questions? I see we were getting some people in. Morning, Matt, Heron, Derby, and everyone else. All right, I will let you continue then. Do you have more you want to touch on, or do you want to take more questions? I have a couple. My first one, I guess I'll start with is, what about phygital items? Is that a thing on your roadmap where, let's say that an
Collectibles?
artist, yeah, exactly, like something that can be mailed. So let's say that an artist has a one of one piece that they want to make an NFT for, but they have the one of one art. Is there a way to incorporate that to get it to people? And then also, are you mostly, and this would be based on the
Mhm.
shipping side of that, you focus on Africa first or global? It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter at all. So our community today is all over the place. We have predominantly the United States, we have the UK, and then we have parts of Asia. Asia, predominantly the Philippines and Singapore, and then in Africa we have predominantly Nigeria and Kenya. So you see, the roadmap is really, it really is everywhere. And then some sprinkles in Australia. So it really doesn't matter. We are a global platform, and anybody who finds us can use us. And then with regards to shipping. So yes, collectibles. So remember how I mentioned earlier that yes, we will include other types of NFTs on our roadmap. Yes, collectibles are one of those because we see that a lot of people do have collectibles and they are interested in sharing, showcasing, showing off their collectibles. So definitely. And then when it comes to the logistics side, I've been having an ongoing conversation with Amazon, logistics, because they're global, right? And Amazon has an arm for entrepreneurs and all that, and they're very good when it comes to logistics. So we've been talking with them just to see, what's possible, what's not possible, because the DHLs and other shipping carriers around the world, they're quite expensive. So yes, that's something that we are looking into and just exploring options and exploring potential partnerships to determine what is feasible, how can we make it work and what will that look like? Because at the heart of what we're doing is the creators. So creators for us are not just an avatar. They're actual people with desires, motivations, goals, dreams, right? And so when we think about this sort of solutions, we're thinking about how we can make it easy and seamless for the creator, the actual person, and their own community. So I share that just to say that another thing that we're looking to integrate and we're working on actively is IP protection, because that has come up quite a bit for some of the artists in our community. And what that looks like is just providing them with protection against plagiarism, against copyright infringement, and what have you. So let me give you an example. Say, for instance, you put an artwork out there in the world and somebody else puts something quite similar, and then they say that, oh, your artwork was inspired, quote unquote, their own art. But meanwhile, we can see that it's really just a copy, right? So how do we approach those sorts of conversations? What is the impact of that? You know, what are the repercussions of that? Or let's say we have a bad actor on a platform. How do we handle that? Or if you as an artist want to put out artwork in the world, is it possible for us to embed licensing into the artwork so that as whomever, as myself, as yourself, as you know, collectors pick up that art, they have the license, they have the right, the authority to use that art for X number of years in X capacity? Can we do that? What does that look like for artists on a one-on-one level? Right? Because I'm trying to ensure that we cater to others at the bottom of the tail and not just the 1%. You know, so those are sort of the questions that we're asking. We're listening to the community. We're trying to design solutions around many of their problems. And yes, to answer your question, going back to your question, shipping and logistics is definitely on the radar, and collectibles as well.
I think that that's an interesting topic that I like to ask people about, because NFTs and physical items, there's no reason that they can't be joined hand in hand like that. And a lot of the artists have physical items that they either paint or sculpt or something else that they want to do.
Mhm.
So I think that that's a good way to help promote your artists. Speaking of promotion, earlier you said that you guys will help promote, NFTs and collections and stuff like that. How and where do you promote them?
So right now they're only promoted on the platform. Um, but that's not to say that there isn't the opportunity to handle promotion outside of our space. So, you know, because many times on any platform, you'll notice that you only get so much eyes on your artwork, or you're siloed into just the people that you're interacting with, or the people that your own people are interacting with. So others outside that circle don't get to see you, they don't get to hear you, they don't even know you exist. And so the question now becomes, how do we expose you to people outside of your bubble? How do we expose you to people who could potentially resonate with your artwork if you're only restricted to those within your space? And so that's what we try to do, broaden that circle on your behalf. So get you outside of your immediate circle of your immediate friends to others out there in the world. And let me just quickly add something else. So going back to something that you mentioned about shipping and collectibles. Yes, I think for many people, I'm referring to folks outside of this audience. For many people, I think where the struggle with regards to NFTs is just how to consume the artwork outside of the digital world. So to them, yes, it's like a JPEG is online, but what does that do for them, you know, realistically? And so the shipping aspect provides an opportunity for them to enjoy it in a physical space. So they see the artwork online, they like it, they purchase it, and then you ship it to them, and then there is an unveiling, right, in their home or in their office, whatever that looks like. There is an experience, and then they're able to hang it up on the wall or gift it to a loved one or what have you. So I think that aspect really opens up the world of NFTs to a much more, should I say, real use case. And I use the word real because to to some people, that is a real consumption. When they can see it, when they can touch it, when they can feel it, that becomes a real consumption to them.
I get you. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that they should be together.
Mhm.
Whatever site or marketplace you're doing, when people realize that they're using NFTs, we're not there yet. When they don't realize that they're using NFTs and blockchain, and it's just, oh, I like this, I can order it, it comes to my house, yay. Then that's when we're winning, at least in my opinion. So
Yeah,
I think that that's a right step in the right direction. Uh,
definitely.
any questions so far? I'll just raise your hand, come on in, open forum. I've sent a bunch of mics out, but I'm not sure if anybody wants them. We can continue on. So it sounds like you're trying to build like maybe even a social network for artists, collectors through your uh, aggregation site. Is that kind of an accurate assessment?
Um, Kinda. So we're not trying to be a social network because, oof, when I think about, the Instagrams and the TikToks and the Facebooks of the world, my heart begins to pound. Um, right now, we're just trying to solve that problem. We're just trying to solve the problem of fragmentation and consumption. And it really is a selfish problem. And I say selfish because I want to see your artwork everywhere. I don't want to have to go to 16 different places to try to find you to see your artwork, right? I don't want to have to click on Linktree, go to OpenSea, come back to Linktree, click on Known Origin, come back to Linktree, navigate LooksRare, try to find you. It's crazy, it's chaotic. I just want to see art. So right now we're just trying to solve the problem of fragmentation, consumption, aggregation, and yeah, we'll see what the future holds. Will we become a social network? If we do, I would hope that we are a responsible social network. I would hope that we are a platform that doesn't restrict people's right to speak or to express. I would hope that we are very much decentralized and provide the sort of space where everyone and anyone can chime in and dictate how that platform evolves. So that is what we're trying to build. That is who we are, and that is where we are, and this is what our heart is.
No, that's great. And I wasn't trying to, I didn't mean like you were building the next Twitter kind of social network, but you brought up that you could tag other collectors of similar NFTs and stuff like that. And to me, that seems like building at least a small aspect of a social community based on, the art that you like and stuff.
Yeah. No,
Because right now you
I
can,
hear you.
yeah, and sometimes I'll buy different NFTs or whatever and kind of lurk through the addresses to see who else owns whatever it is, or
Exactly.
yeah, I mean it's you want to see where like minds lay, I guess. So I
Mm-hmm.
like that.
No,
Um,
definitely. I completely hear you. And no, I just love looking at art. I'm not as good as many of you. I'm a field artist, so to speak. And this is where I would say my talents are best used to just help other artists do more and amplify their work. And as much as we can do that, we want to do that too. So yeah.
I have a quick question. How long has it been in existence? Like, how long have you guys been around? And what kind of, if you want to share that number, this number is like, how many like monthly users or monthly active users, daily active users do you have?
Sure. So we've been around since August. So we're roughly the new kids on the block, so to speak. And to answer your question, about 1,000 roughly.
And
And
oh, go ahead.
yeah, so please go on. No, 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 please, please. I want to
I was
hear.
just gonna ask, like, I'm half Filipino, as a lot of people in this audience know. And so I heard you mention that you've got a lot of users from the Philippines. I'm guessing they're all on Tezos. Yeah, is that what your user base in the Philippines is?
Right now, we only have Ethereum on the platform, so predominant, so there would have to be ETH. There would have to be ETH folks. But yes, we are getting a lot of demand for Tezos. That's why I mentioned that we are, currently integrating Tezos and Tezos and Solana, because a lot of them do have Tezos, correct?
Yeah, I know Tezos is
And even in
good.
our African artists too, predominantly, they tend to be on foundation. So yeah, the funny thing is, not funny, haha, but funny, interesting, is you'll find that there are differences across regions, around the world. So you'll find that this particular country, they tend to really favor a certain platform or a certain blockchain. I don't know why, but it just happens to be that way if you really dig into the analytics. So yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely been my experience. Dealing with a lot of my friends and family in the Philippines. It's been focused on, well, actually, it was Polygon, Near, and Tezos, all are big platforms. And then ETH, and I think a lot of it might have to do because of the former gas fee prices, right? Ethereum.
Probably, yes.
A lot of countries don't, and I don't blame anybody for not wanting to spend that extra money just to do a transaction. But yeah, thank you.
Sure. And then there's a new platform that I just heard about. It's called Voice, and it even allows very, very minuscule. So you can even bid $5, on a piece of artwork. So I find that maybe that's another reason that artists because I find that Nigerians, where they have some financial restrictions over there, with the government and all that, so they tend to favor platforms where you can have the smallest beads necessary. It doesn't need to be 95 ETH or whatever. Something as small as $1 you can bid on an artwork. So that could be another potential reason.
So if you're on Ethereum, what about Polygon then? Layer 2 solutions. There seems like there's a lot of NFTs on Polygon as well. Is that a roadmap item?
Yes, it definitely is. So turns out that we have beaten a big problem, and every day, well, not every day granularly, but metaphorically, every other day we find another marketplace or blockchain that is worth integrating. So we have quite the roadmap, yes, to integrate.
And I think that helps stress, the importance of interoperability between projects. There's no more, not so much no more, but the days of the maximalist, we should only stick with this platform or this project. We have to die on this hill. It's not like that anymore. Everybody's doing so many different things that we just have to be open. And I like that you're doing that.
Oh, thank you. And then just staying abreast of all the changes too. It's quite interesting. It keeps us on our toes. So that's why we lean very heavily into our community just to understand what, everyone wants and needs in the short term versus the long term, and then just trying to balance those priorities, you know. So that definitely keeps us busy.
So we're in a bear market right now, and things are a little bit, they could go this way, they could go that way. As a founder and an NFT developer, project owner, whatever you want to go with, how do you feel and where do you see NFTs going, like the next year, 2 years, something like that?
This is just my personal opinion. I think that the underlying technology is here to stay. And I think that in the future, not sure how soon that future is, but in the future, I think we'll all be using blockchain technology in one way or another. The only question is, people may not even know that they're using blockchain technology. So it's similar to the internet today, right? How you can just hop onto the website or you can just hop onto Twitter. To you, you're on Twitter. To you, you're on the web, but you're not really thinking about all of the IP protocols underneath that. You're not thinking about the technological infrastructure upholding all of that. You're not thinking about HTTPS and all of the security that goes into it. You're just interacting and chatting and you're on WhatsApp talking, so I think that's how things are going to evolve, where blockchain technology and all of its use cases are the underlying infrastructure for how the world will function in the future. It's just that the layman, the average person, will not know or understand all of the technological terminology behind it, even though they are using, interacting, and consuming it. So that's my personal opinion. And I definitely see tons of use cases for the technology in healthcare, in voting, in real estate, and definitely for creators. I think it empowers creators. I'm very bullish on secondary royalties. That's just my own personal passion. I think that they should exist. And I think that artists should be able to make sales from them as much as possible. And yes, we are trying to solve problems for creators as much as we can. And I'll just share with you something at the back of my mind, which I haven't really shared with others. But I've been thinking about creators and empowering them in other ways. So in corporate America today, you have a 401k plan. And in your 401k, you work, 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 you put money aside. And then even if you take time off, PTO, pay time off, right? Even if you take time off, you still get paid. You're not docked. So I've been thinking, again, just at the back of my mind, about how we can do that or implement something similar for creators. So let's say you have a creator and they make X amount of money. Is it possible that we're able to put aside a bit of that money for them so that, let's say, you get tired, you're burnt out or whatever, and you want to take some time off? You can take 6 weeks off and we send you a check for those 6 weeks. And you, the creator, you, the artist, you don't have to worry, right? You don't have to worry about sales or whatever. So what does that look like? What is the time period? Would that be 3 years? Would that be 5 years before you get a check, before you get the 6 weeks off? What does that look like? So just thinking about empowering creators in different ways or in other ways. And again, it's very different from our platform, but the platform in itself is about creators. So remember when I mentioned earlier that they're not just an avatar, they're actual people with desires, goals, dreams, right? So that's what we keep in front of us when we design, when we build, when we evolve, when we create, just thinking about them holistically to say, okay, how can we empower them all? So I will just stop talking right now. And thank you for listening.
No, this is your space. We invited you here. We love, I'm happy to hear all of it. That's what we're here for. I did see that Lawbreaker came up and I thought they had their hand up for a second. Do you have a question?
Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to come up. I was just agreeing with everything Annie was saying in regards to royalties and like how the NFTs are coming into the major, I guess, stream, and people are going to be able to use that. But that's all I had to say, really.
I think royalties are so key for the future. Personally, I really hate the movement that they want to take away royalties from the artists. I got
Yeah.
in a discussion with somebody that was pro taking away the royalties, and his only reasons seemed very selfish. He's like, I just want to make more money when I resell my art, when I resell what I bought, and that was it. And I was like, okay, that extra $50, that extra $10 for some of the pieces, especially right now, that's going to go so far. Anyways, Lawbreaker and I have gone off on tangents on this in the past.
Yeah, don't get
So
me
annoying.
started either. Yeah, I can just go on forever. That's why I deliberately paused myself so that I don't start going off.
Yeah, and I also, to your point where you said you believe that blockchain will just be an underlying technology that a lot of us are using daily and don't even realize it. I 100% agree with you. I think um, there's two pieces to that. I think people have to understand the difference between the blockchain and the internet, and they kind of have to like rewrap their brain around what a blockchain can do compared to what the internet does, and then understand how they're compatible and how they work together. And that's going to take some education. That is for even the builders, the people that are here right now building for the future. And this is a tiny bit off subject, but I feel like it's an interesting story as a use case for the blockchain that has happened in the past. And I actually think it might be it's interesting art in a way, even though it's not actually art. But in Singapore, circa summertime of this year, they were still in lockdown, and it was getting brutal. It was getting very brutal. The police were beating people just for leaving the house. Like things were happening. It was pretty brutal. And then what what the citizens of Singapore started to do were take pictures and video of the incidents and turning them into NFTs. And therefore, those moments are forever alive on the blockchain. And it's an interesting, like, it wasn't, they weren't created necessarily to be sold, but it's like a picture book of history that can never be erased. And in a way, a sign of protest, and then, an aggregator of truth. So I just thought that was a very unique, interesting case used for NFTs and the blockchain. And I personally would love to see all of that in a gallery, because that would just make for an interesting real life, experience.
Definitely.
Yeah, that is an interesting concept. And it looks like we've got a pretty good amount of newer people that may not have been here earlier. Do you mind giving us like a 1 minute spiel just again on Illuna Afrique and what your product is, just to catch people up real quick?
Yeah, and sure, not a problem at all. So Illuna Afrique is a crypto art aggregation platform. And what that just means is we allow users see all of their art across marketplaces and blockchains. It's a gallery. Simple, short.
Awesome. So I've sent out some mics. It's an open forum at this point. If anyone has any questions, or if you have anything else you want to add. Let's see, Altered, I see you, Heron, everybody else, Swavery, Epics, Kishi.
I'm just going to pin this to the space as well, because I know that the name can be, a bit challenging. So I just pinned it to the space very quickly so that you're able to just see who we are, what we do. And please just, hop on there, check us out. Feedback is always very welcome. And please tell others, artists in your life, your loved ones, your friends, about who we are and what we're trying to build out here. And we'll also be starting our spaces next week, Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And our space is really just to showcase different artists, just bring them onto the floor, let them talk about who they are, what inspires them, what their aesthetic is, if they're looking for collaboration, what have you, but really showcasing artists is really what our space is going to be about, at least to start off with, and then no telling how it will evolve, because just listening to feedback and receiving everyone's questions, it may probably evolve into all sorts of directions. But one of the things that we're hearing from artists a lot is about how to conduct themselves, not just as artists, but also as business people. So the business aspects of creating, the business aspects of creation. And that's something that I'm going to be touching on as well for the artists in our community. So please, I'm inviting you all to on Thursday next week at 11 a.m. Kindly listen in and just chime in, just chat, just talk. It's going to be very chill. It's just going to be, I don't know, a vibe that just lets people talk and air their thoughts. And if they have questions about finances, taxes, NFT taxation, what that looks like, crypto regulation, all of that, I'll be speaking about those things and answering those sorts of questions.
I look forward to it. That sounds amazing. I've sent out the mic. I saw Altered, you came up. Did you have something that you wanted to add?
Oh, not really. I think I came into the room late. I just saw a bunch of good people in here. Just trying to get caught up, but your project sounds really interesting. I'm definitely going to take a look at it. And yeah, I didn't really have anything to say. I just, accepted the mic, and I'm just more listening in.
No, it's all good. Sometimes I know you have the best comments on some of these, so I don't want to leave you out for sure. It's been a great space. Does anybody else have a question? I did record this and I will put it out on Twitter when I get the recording and stuff from them. And then I've also tried something new where the whole time that we've been doing this, I had my Twitter space going on my computer, skipping back and forth between Illuna Afrique websites and their gallery and just having a background. So hopefully this will all record okay, and then I'll put it on YouTube and we'll try that out. So at least there'll be a better archive of these in the future. That's the goal. So yeah, does anybody have anything? Annie, do you want to close out with anything if nobody does?
Yes, I'll just say that for the newer folks in the room, in case you joined after, we had talked a bit more, we're just a space where you can aggregate all of your artwork across marketplaces and blockchains. And we're building slowly. Our heart is in the right place. So please be patient with us as we build. We haven't aggregated all of the blockchains and all of the marketplaces that exist today because there are tons and tons of them, but they are on the roadmap, and we are building responsibly and we are listening. So and please, just share, tell others, check us out, leave us feedback, join, give us a hard time. That's what we want you to do. Because at the end of the day, it's about you and it's about who you are. And the more artists that we're close to, the better we can evolve and the better we'll be. And the more diverse our community, the better for all of us. So we're based on the West Coast of the United States. And yeah, we have a global community and you're part of that.
Well, it
That's
seems like
awesome. I
there's
think oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's a global community in here right now. I know we've got a lot of people from the U.S., but I see somebody from Pakistan and somebody from Amsterdam. Hey.
Awesome. I think you have a great attitude, and I love talking with you. This has been a great conversation, and I enjoyed listening to your project. And I've looked through quite a bit too, so I think it's fun. And if you haven't and you're in here, I'd suggest that you check it out. And it's ILUNAFRIQ.com at Iluna Afrique. So just so everybody knows. And Annie, before we go, if you want to put anything in the comments, I think that will stick with this when it saves, but if you pin it on the top, I think it goes away at the end. So, or if you see anything and you want to add to the comments, feel free to throw stuff in so people have links.
I will definitely. And let me just say again, thank you. Thank you. I mean, you and I just chatted and you invited me to come chat with everyone in the room. And I really appreciate the audience and even just keeping us in mind, So thank you. Don't take this for granted at all. So just want to put that out there. And thanks to everybody too for listening and just chiming in. And trust me, when we say that we are listening, we sure are. So I mean what I say and I say what I mean. And yeah, that's who we are.
Awesome. Amazing. Yeah, I had a great time. I'm gonna probably go ahead and close it up then. If no one has anything else to add, we'll just close it a little early today, but I think it was a great topic, great discussion, and thank you everyone for showing up. We look forward to it. And then next week, every Thursday, 9 a.m., we talk to somebody. Next week, we'll be having at Gravity Jack, one of the original augmented reality companies. They had the first augmented reality office. We're talking 2009. And this conversation that we have right now with Iluna Afrique, you'll be able to catch the recording on Twitter. And then I'm going to put this on YouTube, hopefully, too. So I'll put a link to all of that. Thanks again, and I'm going to wrap it up.
May I
Thank you.
Everybody go ahead and follow her, please. Interact. You can tell by her vibe. She's got a very good just attitude and perspective and really wants to support artists. You can hear that passion come through her. If you were a little late to the space, it's really obvious. And so if you're an artist, a creator out there, please get in touch. Please sign up for her platform and give her a follow and look out for her Twitter spaces coming up.
And thank you so much again. Thank you, everybody, for just listening and chiming in and asking questions. Very much appreciated.
Much love. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you,
Thanks.
Andy. Thank you, everyone. Altered, Lawbreaker, let's see, Matt, Heron, Swavery, Kishi, Epics. You guys all